repeated instances in the Gospels come up whereby Jesus commands either people he's healed or his followers not to tell people about it. It's a somewhat puzzling theme that's been identified as the Messianic Secret. This motif reoccurs in all of the Gospels, and somewhat puzzlingly, Jesus tells people not to share about some of the things that he teaches and does. This is puzzling because one would think, as Jesus coming to share the news of the kingdom of God, to share the gospel of his coming and being among them, one would think that he would want people to know of what he came to do. However, there are multiple reasons indicated in the Gospels that suggest that he had good reasons for this, for telling people not to tell about what he has done or about what he's revealed. And in this video, we're going to cover 5 of these reasons why Jesus didn't want people to tell the Messianic secret. Now, it should be said up front that Jesus commands people repeatedly in a variety of instances not to tell people what has happened. These occur in 2 primary types of activities. The first is around healing. For instance, he heals a leper, and he tells him to tell no one about it, but rather go directly to the priest that he may be declared to be clean. He raises Jairus' daughter, a leader of the synagogue, and he orders the parents strictly not to tell anyone about it. This happens again and again, and these occur around miracles, primarily around miracles of healing. This also happens around specific teachings that Jesus gives pertaining to his identity. When he asks his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" Peter responds, "You are the Christ, the Son of God, or the Messiah." Here he strictly orders them not to tell anybody. Similarly, after the Transfiguration, where some of his disciples behold his glory on the mountaintop, he orders them to be quiet and to tell no one. These revelations or teachings around his identity, similar to when demons shout out, "You are Jesus, the Son of God, have mercy on us." He often orders those who hear to not tell anyone. Now, there are 5 reasons, perhaps, for Jesus doing so. The first is that it actually hinders his ministry. The Gospels describe again and again how great crowds, how many crowds, multitudes are following after him. Word gets out, and word about him spreads throughout the district. The Gospels describe how peoples come to him from every region. And these crowds that form block him from, firstly, traveling freely. Jesus often isn't able to go into cities and towns because the crowds are so great. And he teaches often in the countryside, in the wilderness. Sometimes they press in upon him, as the Gospels say, so that he gets on a boat and he teaches a crowd from the boat. He'll frequently travel by boat to somewhere else to get away from the crowds. Moreover, they block him in a variety of ways. The individuals bringing the paralyzed man are unable to reach Jesus on account of the crowds, and so they have to lower him down through the roof. Zacchaeus is unable to see Jesus on account of the crowds. Jesus' mother and brothers and sisters come to visit Jesus, and they can't reach him on account of the crowds. Moreover, they're even a little bit hazardous. That says that they trample over one another. Moreover, they keep him, the disciples, so occupied that they have no time even to eat. So these crowds that form on account of the rumor, the word going out about him, hinder him in a variety of practical ways from exercising that which he has primarily come to do, which is to proclaim the kingdom of God and to share the good news of God. A second reason why Jesus keeps this Messianic secret, why he orders people at times not to tell others about what has happened or what has been taught, is because the people, the crowds, assemble at times because of the miracles and not because of the message that Jesus has come to bring. Jesus points this out in John 6, where he tells them frankly that they have come to him not because of him or because of his teaching, but because he fed the crowds. They've come for bread, essentially. At many instances, people come to him bringing their sick, and he, having compassion on them, heal all of them. This happens again and again throughout the gospel stories. And Jesus makes plain here what seems to be the case in many instances, that the crowds that are formed, the word that is going out about him, is primarily motivated by these miracles that are happening, and not firstly by the teaching that Jesus has come to give. And so because of this misplaced motivation, Jesus often will tell people after miracles, don't go and tell people about this, because again, the emphasis is on what he's come to make known, to teach, to share, not necessarily the wonders that he works. A third reason that Jesus commands this Messianic secret at times, and it should be said that there are other times where he tells people to go and tell, such as after the healing of the demoniac, he tells him to go back to his town and share what God has done for you. But another reason that he will frequently tell people to be quiet, especially early in the gospel stories, is that there are threats against his life. The Herodians, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, the chief priests, they're frequently conspiring to bring him down. This is because Jesus insults them directly in many places. He calls them hypocrites. Says they are whited sepulchres. He points out their faults, their pride, their greed. And doing this, he, of course, undermines their position in the religious system of the time. And so for these reasons, they conspire, they make plans to bring him down. And indeed, when John the Baptist is arrested, Jesus withdraws into the countryside. He, being aware of plots, avoids certain places at certain times. He travels at times too, so that he will not be known. Furthermore, the Romans were in charge of this region at this time, and they were, as always, on the lookout for uprisings. In fact, Barabbas, the person whom Pilate presents to the crowd as an alternative to Jesus to being released right after Jesus' trial, was arrested for insurrection and for murder. And the Romans, like the chief priests, had vested interests that Jesus posed a threat to. For these reasons, Jesus also would frequently tell people not to make his works and his teachings widely known. A fourth reason is related to that Jesus says at a couple times in the Gospel of John that his hour has not yet come, or his time is not yet come. And Jesus has an awareness of his mission, of what he has come to do, and also as to a timeline of events. And twice in John 2 and in John 6, he will tell people that he is not either going to reveal himself or make a public display in Jerusalem because his hour is not yet come. And interestingly, we do find that those instances where Jesus commands someone whom he's healed or revealed a teaching about his identity, these happen early in each of the Gospels, in the first half. And after he has gone to Jerusalem in the second half in each of the Gospels, Jesus speaks openly, and the crowds assemble about him freely, and he no longer commands people to keep a secret. It is only here in this first half of his ministry where he is cautious about word being too widely known. And lastly, Jesus keeps this secret because the people at times want to impress him as king. This is made plainly in John 6, where the crowds want to take him and make him king. A good portion of Jesus' teachings about his identity as the Messiah are reformulating their conception of what the Messiah is about. This happens also after the resurrection, where he explains to them how he fulfills the law, the prophets, and the Psalms, and that he fulfills the Messianic expectations in a way that is different from the popular conceptions at the time. And the people, seeing his wonderful works, hearing his teachings, want to, at times, make him king, proclaim him as such. And not only is it not his time to do so, but he is a king of a very different kind than they're expecting. In fact, when he's asked by Pilate, "Are you a king?" Jesus says, "My kingdom is not of this world." The Messiah that he is and that he has come to fulfill is rather different than the crowds expect. And so he spends a fair bit of his time teaching, especially to his disciples, dismantling these expectations. And for this reason, to avoid being elevated as king, he also commands silence and tells people not to make him known, sometimes until a specific time. So those are 5 reasons why Jesus keeps the Messianic secret, as it's known. Those puzzling places where Jesus counterintuitively tells people not to let the miracles that he's worked be made known to the public, and where he tells his disciples not to share what he has revealed to them about who he is and that he is the Messiah. So thanks for joining along in this video today, and may God bless you.